familiar with Slinkity, I dove right into the documentation and I quote, "In brief, Slinkity is a tool for bringing dynamic client-side interactions in your Eleventy site." Sounds like Slinkity is slickety slick. So here to deep dive into the details is the author Ben Holmes with Stay Partially Hydrated, Unlock Component Frameworks in Eleventy with Slinkity. Enjoy.
Hello, everyone. Guess I'll leave the mic here. Hello, Eleventies. I am Ben Holmes, and I am the developer of a little open source foray called Slinkity that I want to share with y'all today. I never come without a whiteboard to a presentation, so I have one here. I always say it's a little bit better than slides, but looking at the new slides plugin I could use, I might try it. We are going to demo a few amazing features in Slinkity. First off, the fact that it can wire Vite into your existing 11D setup, no refactors required. Start using Vite to process all of your styles. And then we give you some shortcodes out of the box in order to add any component framework that you could want under the sun into your existing 11D templates, or use components as the templating language itself, which won't have time to demo, but it's a lot of cool stuff that you can check out in our docs. So I'm going to go ahead and share a very simple project that I have running here. And this is just configured with regular old 11D, started up in a build server right here. And if we visit that in our browser, we can see this amazing e-commerce experience, 11 T's for 11 T's. And this is a set of amazing t-shirt designs that our committee has fine crafted for y'all. And we have all sorts here, 11D imposter, weighing out the pros and cons, too fast, too furious, many options for us to choose from here. And if we want to buy one of these, we can click on this, and with a little pagination, we generate a unique page for all of our products. It has a pretty fair base price, but you can increase it if you want. And then the shipping is possum related usually, or you could use USPS ground. I don't know why people choose this option, but we leave it for legacy purposes. And then instructions to make sure your possum doesn't get lost. It's very important. So very simple experience that we can pull off just with HTML and CSS is what we love 11D for. But you'll notice it's pretty stark right now. I might want to add some styles to this. And if you're configuring this yourself, you might start by saying, okay, maybe I'll set up a gulp process or look around for plugins. And then I have to make sure the live reloading is efficient, so I'm not rebuilding thousands of CSS files as my project grows. And that kind of feels old hat. It feels like there should be some new solutions. And if you look around, you might discover the Vite build tool. It's like, oh, that sounds amazing. It's got a lightning bolt. I should definitely try this one. Then you look at getting started and see, oh man, they have built-in support for CSS. Well, I'll go look at that. It looks very simple to set up. How do I bring Vite into my 11D project? And it's less straightforward than you might think. And that's because Vite controls the dev environment. So it's more than just a bundler. It controls quite a lot in the experience. So I recommend reaching for a tool that configures Vite into your existing 11D environment. And for that, we're going to reach for the amazing tool called Slinkity. And you don't have to do any config in order to set this up. You just change the word 11D to Slinkity and make sure the Slinkity package is installed. And with that, you can run the same start command you did before, same environment flags and everything, using the same flags here. It's the same browser sync server. Nothing has really changed, except now we're using Vite on top of this to give us some superpowers. So to start, maybe I'll start adding some styles. I'll add a global SCSS to this whole thing. And to wire this up, I don't have to set like a pass-through copy. I don't have to map it to some output folder. All I got to do is head over to my layout and reference it using a little import alias. This is going to go to the root of our project, which is the base, and then look into that styles file and just reach for SCSS. Don't do anything else. And with that, now we have wired up an SCSS file into our project that will build for production as well. And to verify that this is working, I'll go ahead and just add the color red maybe. And you'll notice the live reloading doesn't even refresh the page. It sends that resource over because Vite is smart enough to say, you just changed the styles. So I'm not going to reload that HTML. I'm just going to reload everything lightning fast. And you can see it's literal milliseconds. It's amazing for rapidly prototyping projects. So with this, let's go ahead and take this a little more seriously. I have some real styles. And for this, I'm going to move my zoom bar. I definitely recommend checking out some existing projects. Steph has a whole library of things, and small CSS is one of them. Scrappy way to do this. Let's grab a small CSS grid, throw it into our project here. And then over on my index, I'll apply small CSS grid and show y'all this, where to see the magic. Small CSS grid. And with that, now we have a beautiful grid here, but you can see they kind of overlap here. It's because of this min value. So I'll tweak that up a bit until I feel good about it. Really quick to see my feedback there. And then if I want to add a pattern background, well, Thomas Semler has this covered. He has a pattern repository that I'd love to grab from. So maybe I like this mesh pattern. So I say, okay, I'll go ahead and download that file, go look for it in my downloads folder. And I can just plop this right into my styles directory right here. And everything is going to resolve. I don't have to worry about pass-through copying. I can just go ahead and say, let's apply a background to our body and just reference that URL with a relative path. We don't have to do any aliases to make sure that that gets found. We can just head over here and we should see our pattern in a moment. That's the wrong number. We grab that. Now we can see our mesh pattern, and I applied a little background to our content to make sure it's not overshadowed. And we have a maximum width to make sure everything looks nice. And then we head over here and it's applied to all of our pages because we used a layout, and everything else is set up and ready to go. And if I want to, tweak this layout as well, maybe I'll add a 2-column setup to this guy. And I might have wired that up wrong. If I look over here, 2-column. Okay, yes. Yeah, if I wire up that class name there, we should see our 2-column setup, and we can tweak this to our heart's content again with super fast live reloading. It's really rewarding to see all of your changes without having to wait for a build process to finish up. So we just built a pretty simple e-commerce experience in, according to my timer, 3.5 minutes, which I'd say is pretty good. So from here, we might want to add a little bit of JavaScript interactivity to make this more interesting. We could reach for a script tag, more gulp processes, but remember, now we have the Vite bundler at our disposal, which means we have a whole world of opportunities and JavaScript libraries we can reach for. And one of the ones that we help you with out of the box is adding React components. And for this, you just install React and React DOM into your project. It looks like I forgot the I. And with that, it'll detect that you need React and React DOM and make sure that when we start up our server, it's going to pre-bundle those resources for a fast reloading experience. And in the future, we will open this up to renderer plugins inspired by the way Astro does things. So you can configure Svelte, Vue, Solid, any shortcode that you could want. But out of the box, we're giving you React. So what you can do to wire that up is as simple as writing a little shortcode right here. If I can remember where my percent sign is, we can reference the word React, which is the name of our shortcode, and then the path to our component, which I just have set up in our includes folder here. It'll reach into includes by default. And I'm going to reach for reach UI in order to have an accessible tabs component to suggest other shirts you might want to buy. So I'm going to wire that up and say Possum upsell. Let's grab that guy. And we'll pass some props to this. And you can pass any props that are existent in your layout already. Right now we have t-shirts. So I'll just pass in t-shirts, the name of it being t-shirts, and then equals the value that we're looking for. If you didn't know, Nunjuk supports equals when you're passing props, if you want named props. And with that, we should see a couple reloads in order for it to find all the resources. And now we can see that we have an accessible tabs component that's nice and interactive. But you'll notice it kind of goes off the page because we have a whole 11 products. So let's go ahead and generate a random set of products, a random 3. And for that, you can see I can use more import aliases to go straight to the root of my project and find this utils folder where I'm going to generate just a random number somewhere inside of our list and get 3 items at random. And then I need to wire that up as a little prop right here. And sure enough, now we have 3 elements. Because now we have client-side JavaScript, we can refresh this and get a unique set of options every single time. So with that, we can just browse to our heart's content in order to see all of these products. And if you want to opt out of shipping JavaScript, you want to server-side render it, we have a set of rendering modes that you can use. So by default, and we're going to change this default in the future, by the way, you're able to eagerly render that component, which means once the page loads, load all the JavaScript to make sure that React component works. What you can also do is lazily load that resource. So only load React when it's scrolled into view. That's great for footers where you have some unique information and you don't want to block up the main thread loading a comment section. Or you can just say render static. And this will opt out of shipping JavaScript entirely. You'll notice it's not really functional anymore, but we're not loading any scripts. So if you want to use React as just a generic templating language, instead of using it to actually ship stateful experiences, this is a really great way to do it. We actually had someone on Twitter reach out and say it's great for their design system where they have static blocks of text for their headings and descriptions, and they want to use React for it, but they want to opt out of shipping all of the JavaScript to hydrate that experience. And this is Island's architecture in its purest form, if you've never heard of it. It's basically a way to add a bunch of Create React apps onto a single page. If I go to the build output for any of these files, you can see all it's doing is adding a little script tag to the bottom of my body that's going to go look for our component and load it into view. And if I go back to static, that script tag goes away. It's as simple as that. So I notice I'm at 11 minutes now, but if you like this project, definitely go check out slinkity.dev. We have a quick start guide that's really approachable in my opinion. And we're definitely looking for contributors as well over on GitHub. So star us, go check out our contributing guide and see how you can start this next wave, taking us to 11 and beyond. Thank you.